welcome back to another episode of the 626 podcast.
Welcome.
And we have special guests this time.
We do.
Yeah, we're excited. So we have our good friends TJ and Courtney here, and you guys can say hi.
Hi.
Courtney looked at me for permission. She was like, "Am I
hi.
allowed to talk to this microphone?" TJ's still waiting on permission.
Hello. Hello. I was, for the first time in my life, I was going to be the last person to speak.
Wow.
It took a lot of constraint.
Wow.
But here we are.
TJ was determined to wait.
I was.
So we've known you guys for a while, but you guys have started this year a podcast.
Yeah.
Wish Upon a Spark.
Yes.
Is it Wish Upon a Spark or Wish Upon a Sparks?
Wish Upon a Sparks.
Because their last name is Sparks.
Yeah, I was going to say that because their last name is Sparks. And it is a Disney podcast, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it just Disney movies or is it like all, are you guys going to like branch out and do all Disney stuff?
I think we branched out a little bit on one episode, but there's definitely other avenues that we're thinking of going down, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might do some like random
Like park episodes.
or
Yeah.
even like Disney home decor or like stuff like that. But
Things like
for now,
that.
just movies with like one-off
Y'all
episodes.
just did a Flubber episode. That's a Disney movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a
Why
Disney
would you,
movie.
what? You don't think that was a Disney movie?
I don't know why I didn't think about it being a Disney movie. I think because in my brain, I'm going to stop playing with this cord. I think because I think about like the Disney movies of like the ones that you guys have done. Like,
Yeah, you think,
we
like-
were on your Cars episode.
Yes.
And then like, which by the way, everyone should listen to that because it's funny.
It's a fantastic
hilarious.
episode. It's absolutely hysterical. I'm going to time out real quick. Me and you
delightful.
talked about this like when we were eating earlier. It's one of those episodes where like even though we were all a part of it, like when I listen to it, I'm like, this is entertaining.
It's entertaining.
Like we're hilarious.
We are funny.
You know, most of the time you listen to yourself and it's cringe, but like I was like, this is hilarious.
for
Like
yourself.
everyone should listen to this.
It's super good.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I feel like because I look at all the episodes you guys do and how you'll have like, you know, you've done all of the older movies of like Pinocchio and, you know, any like, I think you did you do Sleeping Beauty?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, Sleeping Beauty. And like y'all have done, you know, pretty much all of the older ones that are like the cartoons. So like for some reason when I say Flubber, I'm not like, oh, Disney movie.
You really
I'm just
don't think
like
it was a
Robin
Disney-
Williams.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. We actually get into that
What a
on the
legend.
episode. It took a turn for a second. We talked about a little bit of like mental health stuff because of what he dealt with. And Courtney actually has a great, I'm not going to give it away, but like go listen to the episode. She does
That's your plug. Go listen to the episode.
No, she really did. She did a great job of like bringing it up and then talking about it in such like a really dynamic way. She really crushed it. But yeah, I'm with you. Like it was one of our first live action ones. We've done a couple. We've done none of them. They've all been animated, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure y'all did Robin Hood recently too.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
all been animated up to this point.
Is Robin Hood Men in Tights Disney? No, that's definitely not
Pray
Disney.
to God, but
I
no,
don't
it's
think
not. It's
so.
not. No.
Because
It's
it was
DreamWorks.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's not Disney.
Yeah, we did the original Robin Hood, but they've all been animated and
I love that one.
They made yes, thank you. I loved it. Courtney wasn't as big of a fan.
I love it.
It's a fine movie. It's
Yeah.
acceptable.
Okay.
Before this becomes a podcast about
sorry.
Disney movies,
Yeah.
I want to try. So
Sorry.
They did it again.
we've known you guys for a while. You guys are super talented singers, musicians. I almost said magicians, but you're not magicians.
They are that part time.
You do magic with the
I actually had
microphone.
that-
That sounds bad. Never mind.
Do.
But you guys are super talented in that aspect. And you guys, like I said, you launched a podcast and you guys are all around creative. Fun fact, me and Courtney spent 4 hours one time making a really awesome animation video that was
Yes,
2
you
seconds
did.
long.
It really lasted like 3 seconds.
Yeah, it was
fine.
incredible though.
I remember she
It was
kept
lovely.
texting me throughout the day, and she would say like, "Yeah, we're still working on it."
Yeah, it was like 4 frames long, and it took us all day.
What was that?
It was a long time.
Had I started yet? Or
No, you were not. We were not all working together at the time. But
wow.
yeah, so
Yeah, because we all worked together too.
We had hung out a couple times at this point though.
Yeah.
Like, we were definitely
Oh,
all
yeah.
friends, but we weren't like what we ended up being.
obviously, like we got on your podcast and we shared the story of how we first met.
Yes.
I think it's only fair you do that here, but from your perspective. And if anybody wants to hear our perspective,
Yeah, so if we feel like we're being misrepresented, we'll speak up.
yeah, if you want to hear our perspective, you have to go listen
You
to
have
the
to
Cars
listen to the
episode
Cars.
of Wish Upon the Sparks podcast, so that way you can hear the adventure that was. Plus, it was a good episode.
I love it.
Such a good episode.
I love it. It was hysterical. Oh, Courtney, why don't you start the story? Because if I start talking, I'll just talk the whole time. So
TJ's very conscious about not talking the whole time.
I am. I talk a lot.
I feel like you remember it better than
I
me,
do remember
though.
better. All
So
right,
you
cool.
go.
See, I have to get a permission first, and then I can.
Yeah.
Chatty Cathy over here.
I am a chatty Cathy. So we used to work for this place.
Yeah, we just call it a place.
This place, and we one of us still works there. But anyways, so we all used to work for this place. Yeah, I do. And so we went on this retreat, and so we check into our room, and it's so crazy because when you go on these staff retreats,
Yeah, you're randomly assigned.
you're
somebody.
randomly assigned rooms, and so we randomly got assigned with another couple, and then us two couples, and so you never know how it's going to go. And
The other couple was your boss, wasn't it?
yes,
And we never saw them.
No.
I thought they were.
they were
like
out
a
late and
figment
up
of the
early.
imagination.
Yeah, they were out late
Never
and up
saw
early.
them.
It was crazy. So we get to the room, and like they had already checked in, not you guys, but the other people, and they had like checked in, dropped their bags off, and gone. And so we come in and we're just like, which room is ours? And we kind of figured it out. We're like, we'll just take this room over to the
Yeah,
side.
you took the massive king bed. I'm kidding.
Probably. And so we put.
I think they did.
No, they did not.
Are you sure?
That was
we
another
didn't.
time.
No,
I think we just didn't want a room next to
Yes.
the other people. So we chose
the-
the room on the
other
opposite
couple-
side of the.
Yes, the other couple definitely took the master bedroom.
I like that.
Okay.
I like
You know
that
what?
you
You're
guys
right.
didn't know who else was with you, but you knew that you didn't want to be near those people.
Exactly.
You're like, I'll take a shot with a stranger.
All right. So, anyways, we get there. We set our luggage down, and we decide because it's Hammock Beach Resort. It's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna walk out onto the balcony and just enjoy the view. So we.
It is a pretty view.
Listen,
and I'm pretty sure the sun was setting
I'm
too.
going to say this as nicely as possible.
Oh boy.
We effortlessly open the glass
Hell up.
door.
Shut the hell up.
Okay, shut up.
We walk out onto the balcony, and we're just enjoying the
Effortlessly.
view, right? So I'll never forget it. I just hear like this like clunking sound like behind me, and so I kind of ignore it for a second, and then Courtney's like, I think someone's trying to come out the balcony. Maybe we should help them open the door. And I was like, I turn around, look at him, I'm like, no, they'll get it in a second.
That makes it so much worse.
They'll figure it out.
No, like, you know,
We indeed did not figure it out.
They did
No.
not. So it's like one of those things where like you see someone and you're like, well, first of all, like the lock's on the inside. Fair point. The lock to any door like that. They don't make the lock on the outside because then someone can climb up the balcony and break in.
You
the
don't say.
The lock is on the inside. So there was nothing.
Yeah, Batman was a thief.
Yeah, okay. My favorite superhero, by the way.
Yeah.
Not what the podcast is about. So
What is this podcast about?
Who knows?
so I'm processing in my head like, well, I can't really help them, so I'm just gonna look at them and kind of smile and hope they like figure it out. And
And you did.
I did, and so I'm one of the. Okay, I'm one of those people that 90% of the time I'm a very fast processor, and I always think of like something to do and like in the moment. But this was one of those moments. I'm not gonna lie, I had genuinely, socially, emotionally had no clue what to do. And so I kind of watched you guys struggle for a second. And then Scott kind of looks up to me, and I'll never forget it. We kind of made eye contact, and he waves at me. And then I wave back, and then me and Courtney walk back inside to our bedroom.
I will never forget that wave.
Yeah.
And like this is like the one time that I wish this was a video podcast because I like your wave was just he literally just like stuck his hand up and just kind of jiggled his hand a little
Just a
bit.
little hand jiggle.
And
It was
then
not a
Courtney
wave.
TJ waved back slightly and then booked it.
We did. I didn't know what to do, and it was like it was. I'm sorry, I love you guys. It was getting awkward.
Yeah. We maintained eye contact for a little longer than I
We
expected.
did.
Gosh.
So I'm going to tell this part too. I know we talked about this on the Cars episode as well, but flash forward 3 nights later, and we all came back from one of the staff dinners and like prayer times or whatever. And you guys were sitting in there, and we walked in. You guys were watching TV. I think you guys had Family Guy on. And we walked in. I was like, oh, I love that show. And then we just had this really organic, beautiful conversation. It was no longer than 30 minutes. We talked about Community TV show. We talked about Family Guy. She talked about American Dad. And then, we asked what you guys did, like all that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
like found out about you guys just a little bit. And I want to say, I think we exchanged numbers. Like, I think in that moment we exchanged numbers.
Yeah.
I think we did.
Yeah, we exchanged numbers, and then like that was the beginning of one of our just best friendships
Yeah.
with you guys. Like, you guys are just like some of our dearest friends, and so Even though it had an awkward beginning, like rooming together.
Yeah, it's only got more awkward since.
It's only got more awkward since. We just don't care about the awkwardness anymore.
We embrace it.
We embrace it.
So as much
It's our
as
favorite thing.
as much as I think like digging up these stories, because we could take this entire podcast to just be a memory podcast, but I don't think anyone would listen at that point.
No.
The real
I
reason
would.
we had you guys on here was because this is like we talk a lot about entrepreneurship and
Right.
creativity on this podcast, and you guys launched a podcast in the midst of all this. And I remember you guys texted me. We were walking. You guys were like, "Hey, what does it take to start a podcast?" And I was just like, "Well, if you're starting a Disney podcast, you're gonna need like this, this, and this." And I was like, "That'd be cool if they start that." And you guys launched it. And starting a podcast, having done this a couple times, like it's a lot to step out of your comfort zone. One, to create content and put it out there for people to listen to, because it's not just your friends that are listening to it. There's complete strangers, and I don't know if anybody knows this. The internet sucks.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. They do. I'm scared every day we're gonna get a comment or something that like I mean I can kind of deal with it better than I think, but like my worst fear would be like Courtney, because she runs the Instagram, like getting like a hateful DM or something like that. I really don't want to experience that.
Yeah, I'm afraid. Yeah, I'm afraid for that person. Courtney might track them down.
That is more accurate.
Yeah, but I like so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So like, you guys had backgrounds with music. Like I said, you
Yeah.
guys both are singers. And Courtney, do you play any instruments? I've never asked this.
Okay. Technically, no.
Okay, how is there a technically in this?
She
Do
dabbles.
you play the nose whistle?
No, she doesn't even know how to blow her nose.
Yeah, we have to
Oh
come.
my gosh, you're right. Oh, dang.
I can't. Yeah, no. But I
And
like.
that's comedy. Full circle, folks.
I know like notes on the piano.
Okay.
Like I can figure out notes like
She
on a
actually-
guitar
she
if I
actually
needed
knows the
to.
number system
Like
pretty well too.
I can.
Yeah, I know it
I
too,
can
1 through 10.
read like like
No.
music charts.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Like sheet music, I
She
can
reads
read sheet music.
Yeah,
like,
she can.
but
yeah.
She can tickle the
Playing.
ivories.
She can. She sits
Please
out at
don't
home
ever say
sometimes
tickle
and
the
likes
ivories.
to
That's what
play
they call it. It's
sometimes.
called that.
Yeah, they do say it's the thing they say, because pianos used to be made the white keys. And this is very unfortunate.
keys.
Used to be made from ivory, which should never be done anymore because it involves the hunting of
Elephants.
elephants. Yeah, which is really sad.
Yeah.
they're endangered.
Yeah. Well, that got sad really fast. Transitioning. So, Courtney, obviously, you can technically play a music, so you can play instruments, but kind of, I guess, especially for your thing, because like TJ would talk to a wall for like 5
yeah.
hours. What kind of drove you to want to like do a podcast?
So it's kind of crazy. We had talked about starting different kinds of podcasts for a while and like doing, like dabbling in different avenues of Disney content. But I just like woke up in the middle of the night one night. It was like 2 a.m. and I was like, we should start a podcast about Disney movies. And
Sorry,
This is what I
at
love
two
about Courtney.
at 2
And
a.m.
so I like put it in my notes and I grabbed my phone, put it in my notes, and just went back to sleep. And I told TJ about it. I don't think the next day, but probably a couple days later.
Yeah.
And we just did it.
You just
Yeah.
did the dang thing.
Was there any conversation about like should we do it, or was it just like we're gonna do it, we're just gonna go for it kind of thing?
I think I just kind of brought it up, and TJ was like, "Oh yeah, this is a great idea. Let's do it."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very. I like to try things. I like to just try things. Like y'all know me really well. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, cool idea. If I think it's a genuinely good idea, this is actually a weakness and it can be a strength at times. I just like, let's just do it. So like our first couple episodes, if you go listen to them, we recorded them on our phone with like no microphones. Like the
Yeah.
audio quality is terrible. Like
Yeah.
we were just like, I was just like, I want to do it. We have no equipment, but we're gonna start.
We're just
Like,
gonna
we're
do
literally
it.
gonna start this weekend.
It's the gusto.
Yeah, we just like we're gonna do it. Yeah, there was like really no, there was
Yeah.
no should we not, because like I wait. It's like whenever I feel like you have to like weigh risk whenever you make a decision, and I was like, there's no risk, right? Like we're talking about Disney movies, and we had the same discussion. Like we're gonna keep it clean. It's gonna be family friendly. So like there's no professional risk, right? Like no one's gonna listen to this and like oh y'all shouldn't do that. Like it's gonna be it's a win-win. Worst case scenario, 3 people listen to it a week and that's all, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
worst case, we're just doing it for us.
Yeah.
Which is fine. So when we weighed the risk out in like a 24-hour span, I'm like, there's really no downside to this.
I think that's a really good thing, because like that's the big thing. Like it's almost the what makes somebody a dreamer and what makes somebody an entrepreneur is that the dreamer puts it in their phone and the entrepreneur puts it in their phone and then does it. And I think that's the big thing. Is it's like it's easy for us to just be like dreamers, where it's like I have a great idea, I want to do this, and then no follow through with it. And what I like about what you were saying, TJ, is so there's a book I finished reading earlier in the year. I don't even know if I can say it. Can I say the title? Subtle Art of Not Giving an F? Sorry, we're trying to keep it family friendly, I guess. And I don't know if I have a bleep button. Do I have a bleep button? That is not the bleep button. I did not find the bleep.
Timed it right. It could work as a bleep button.
Yeah, I don't think I timed it right. Yeah, so the subtle art of not giving a that book, actually, the guy writes in there, and like he talks about how a lot of the times we get stuck in our own heads and we won't do something, and the best way to overcome it, and he's like, this sounds stupid, but the best way to overcome it is to just do it. And like I think that's what's great about, like, you were like, no, we don't have the equipment, because that would be the holdup. Oh, I don't have the equipment. Oh, I don't have this. Oh, I don't have this. Well, once we buy these things.
Reason to not.
Yeah. And just pulling the trigger and being like, yeah, it'll be bad audio, but at least we did it. And now you're at a point where you're making them consistently and you guys are actively growing an audience.
Yeah. And I appreciate you noticing that too, because it's funny because we were going to keep it on the phone for a long time. And then we decided to record an episode and like video record it. We haven't released the video. We're going to release the video in a couple of months. But we did the Toy Story episode with her parents. We did it at Pine Studios. And then it dawned on me that we could not go from that level of professional recording
back to a phone
down to what we were doing. And so after that episode, I like on the drive home, I was like, Courtney, like we have to buy microphones. Like we have to actually like do this now. And so we actually through a lot of friends that have microphones, let us borrow them and stuff. We started putting a collection together and got the audio quality like way up. But I was like, what? We cannot go back like professional. Like Jacob Hudson records it and processes it, and then there's no way we can go.
No.
So Courtney, you run the Instagram.
Yeah.
So you started to try to build the audience, and you guys have grown quite a bit because like you started with obviously 0 followers, and you have how many now? I don't know. 500. 500?
Yeah, over 500 on Instagram.
Which is interesting because like in Instagram numbers, a lot of the times you'll see that and you'll be like, oh, that's nothing. But then you think about it in the context of actual like business numbers.
Or people.
Yeah, like
human beings.
500 people walk into like, if you ran into 500 people in a day, you would have a heart attack because you're just like, that's too many people.
Well, the point that I made to her the other day is we were talking about it, and I was like, well, when you think about it, we don't know 500 people.
Yeah.
So like that means that like our friends are following us, our family is, but like that's only probably 100 of the 500. So the other 400
are complete strangers who know nothing about
like
you.
What we're doing,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was something that we had talked about in a past episode last season. That was like, you know, you look at your follower count, right? Because that's all that's important now is like
metrics.
But you look at your follower count and you're like, ugh, I only have 500 followers when these people over here have like 10K. Then you think about it, and if you go into like an auditorium and 500 people show up because they give a crap about what you have
Yeah.
I'd lay an egg.
That's incredible.
Yes.
TJ would literally lay an egg.
Literally lay an egg. Yeah.
Like that is just so like because then you start shifting like from it being numbers to that's people.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people that care about what it is you're doing.
What you have to say.
Yeah. And that's just so cool.
So Courtney, how do you like go about posting? Like, do you have a strategy or is it like organic right now?
It's kind of just organic. For a while, I was like really looking into all the analytics, especially with reels and stuff. But I think the algorithm right now just sucks. But so
I just,
So
You just post what you
I
like.
just post what I like, what I enjoy.
Schedule, though. You have a good schedule, and like the way that you release the graphics, I like you to talk about that because you are very processed with that.
Yeah, and I mean our like actual feed is very I do have a flow with that. Like I post like one episode graphic a week and then like either 2 reels or 2 posts or post in a reel, whatever it is. And if I post any extra reels, I just don't post it to our feed so our feed stays cohesive. But yeah.
what were some of the podcast ideas that failed? Like you said you were like bouncing around podcasts before you settled on this one. Like what were some, like, do you know any that were like, I want to do that now and they didn't work out?
I don't think we have any that like are necessarily like failed because I think there's still like ideas that we want to like do
Branch
and move
out.
forward with in the future.
Yeah.
But
Keep them under wraps. Top secret? I'm just kidding.
No,
No.
top secret. No, it's not top secret.
I mean, there's one that we want to do where it's like, we're going to call it, can I say what we're going to call it?
Yeah.
We're going to call it Sipping with the Sparks. And basically like, we're just going to have people over and like either drink beverages depending on the type of day or what time of day it is.
Morning episodes where we'll like come over and we'll like make French press coffee and like everybody will sit around. Like it'll be like we'll come over like 8 a.m. Like it'll be like and it'll be like come over. We'll have some coffee together before we start, and then we'll all like make a fresh pot, sit down together, and have like a morning discussion.
That sounds.
Or do it at nighttime and just get completely hammered and.
Exactly.
Yeah. We'll have like a bottle of wine, or let's say we invited you guys over and be like Tori, bring your favorite bottle of wine, or Scott, what's your favorite whiskey, and we'll buy it and we'll have it there when you get there.
Yeah.
And then we'll like sit down and we'll have a couple of drinks and we'll talk. And it's gonna be more. I think we talked about this when we did the Cars episode. It will be more of a long form podcast. It'll be like
that's cool.
The episodes will be like hour and a half, 2 hours long. It's gonna be a discussion. We're not gonna put any topic behind it.
Yeah.
It's gonna,
you just want to
more about like life, like what those people have walked through. Like it won't be like the one that we're doing now, where we're gonna release an episode every week. It'll be like kind of how you guys do it with seasons, and then guest every single week, and just kind of talk about life.
Sipping with the sparks.
Well, maybe not. I was gonna say it's like the comedians in Cars with Coffee, but I don't think they talk about life. But like,
well, I mean, I don't know what they talk about. I've never really watched.
I never watched it either. But I mean, it sounds like
it's gonna be a total organic conversation, and it'll be like we'll have a couple of, I don't even want to say scripted questions, but the questions will be similar every time. It'll be like, it's like, what are you up to? Like we'll ask people that, like, what are you doing right now? Like what is your life?
How's your mental health?
Like that, seriously, like stuff like that. Like where are you at? Like like things like that. And so. The reason
feels like my health would get better so the episode went on. I'm just saying.
it would, depending on what time of day you came over.
Yeah.
And so,
you come in the morning, the coffee's gonna hit, and you're just gonna get jittery.
Have anxiety. Now.
Which weekend?
But we wanted to start with that one, and that was the one. It's funny that you said that. You hit the nail on the head. We couldn't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Like there was too many things holding us back, and there was something about the simplicity of the Disney podcast that we were, not that it's any less than, like. I think if let's say we did 80 podcasts in our life, right? I would look back at the Disney one. I think it'll always be my favorite. Like, it's kind of like Seth MacFarlane. Like I think Family Guy is always his baby. Like he does. There's other things that he likes and does, but like he loves Family Guy. I think that the Disney podcast will always be that for me. But especially because for whatever reason, when Courtney brought me that idea, I had no fear. It was the first idea for a podcast when she was like, "I think we should do this." I don't even think it took me 24 hours. I was like. Let's freaking.
It was like after I said it immediately, or just like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, no hesitation. Let's literally record it next. We did it like the next weekend, the next Sunday night. We did
it took us a while.
Yeah,
it was rough.
I want to come back to the logistics of it, but I think what you were saying is like again a dead thing for like entrepreneurs. If you're listening to this, is like a lot of the times there is the hang-ups of the different obstacles in your path. And part of being the entrepreneur is figuring out how to get past those obstacles. And sometimes it's just about finding the step that isn't full of obstacles. So sometimes, like what I get a lot of right now, especially now, we've been doing a lot of big clients for a lot of our corporate work, and like I get a lot of people who would message me and be like, "You're doing what I want to do. How do I do it? Like, tell me the steps." And it's like, well, it's not really a step process because like my steps are different than your steps are going to be. Mm-hmm. But the reality is like. Get started somewhere. And a lot of the times the guys, when I'm talking to them, have taken the big swings. So they're like, yeah, I bought this really expensive camera. And I'm like, okay, but you went for trying to solve the obstacle. You've created more obstacles in your path than you needed to. Yes. Like, and you tried to jump start something. And it's like, sometimes you just need to start smaller. Like, listen, a lot of these videographers, I'm like, you're not going to nail a $20,000 client day one. That's just not going to happen. Like you're not
doing this for what 12 years now.
Yeah, we've only had a few of those, and it's like you're not going to nail a $100,000 in the first year of freelance work. Like that's just not how it works. It takes time to build that, and sometimes there's steps and processes you have to know. But find the easy way. Don't try to jump to that spot. Don't try to jump to like I want to do this without. Find the little path to get there. And I know like in the YouTube culture where it's like I quit my job and made 6 figures doing YouTube, and it's like
shut up.
Like that's just not going to happen to everybody.
No.
Like it's not. But find the path that gets you there because that can be the stepping stone. So like you have made it out like, okay, you want to do Sipping with the Sparks, but your start was with you Wish Upon a Spark, and that's kind of been the stepping stone to get you to where you want to get to. And I think that's such good advice for people if like you're wanting to get started in this, like don't try to swing for the fences the first one. Okay. Go, okay, how do I get to where I want to get to? What's a baby step that I can take?
Yeah.
And like one that doesn't have a ton of obstacles.
Yeah.
Now this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the logistics of this because it sounds like there's some interesting. How was that first podcast? I'm asking Courtney because I want to hear her version of it because TJ, I love you, but I know you're going to give me the positive version.
It was honestly really rough. I think like it just, we had to like stop and pause and then like re-record. And then like now we're at the point where we just do it in one take.
Yeah.
But that first one, I think we probably did it in like 12 or 15 little itty bitty sections.
Oh my Lord.
And pieced them all together. And it was just such a hot mess looking back. But I mean, I'm not mad that it happened that way because it helped us like get better and eventually be able to like learn and grow from it and not just be able to do it in one take. But that first one was really, really rough. And I think even for me, TJ always laughs at me because he has to like, I have to start like 4 or 5 times. He like hits play and I'm like, every single time. And it just is. And I'm like, oh, what's my name? What are we doing? What movie did we watch?
What's my fun fact? What's my fun fact?
So,
becomes SpongeBob in that episode. We forgot his name.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, the first couple ones were real rough, but I think we have it kind of together now.
You guys flowed well when we were there.
You have it very together.
Thank you.
I actually am not gonna lie. I'm kind of shocked at once we found our groove, how quickly we found it, and then how we just like decided to, like you talked about when you came over, like the authenticity of it, and like it's like we're gonna do this in one take. And because let's be real, like the first one, we were very concerned about the dogs barking in the background. We were very concerned about Lily's clawing at the door.
Yeah.
We didn't have the equipment we have now to like snip things and like change audio really quickly. So like we had to edit on our phones. It was really stressful.
Yeah.
And then now that we figured all that out, now it's like a Jenny barks in the background. We just make it part of the podcast. It's like, oh, shut up, Jenny. Like, I love you. Love someone else. It's like, it's just part of. It's like part of it because the podcast is part of our lives and it's real, and it's especially because it's a. Here's what I had to start telling myself, because I was for the first like 4 episodes taking like the quality of it and the professionality of it like really seriously, and I had to tell myself this is a Disney podcast. It's very fun. It's very simple. Like, don't overcomplicate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is your first step. People know you're recording in your house. You're not in a professional studio every week. You're doing this for you, for your audience, but it's not this big deal. Like, don't take it too seriously. TJ, have fun.
I think people want like authenticity because like we are surrounded on social media and the news, all of that stuff, by like perfectly manicured presentations, and it's just exhausting because it's a breeding ground for comparison and feeling like you're not good enough. And I think that also flows into stumbling blocks of like, well, I can't do it as well as they can, so I can't do it then. Like, I can't do it, and like that's your obstacle that's created.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think people are really, really hungry for things that are genuine, which is why you see that trend of like when people mess up in their reels or they mess up in a podcast or they flub up their words or something, or like you've got your dogs barking like crazy, your kids run up, stuff like that. It's authentic and it's real and it's not fake.
Yeah. There is a battle to be perfect that I think we have to fight. And I know I was talking about this with somebody else who's, in entrepreneurial, like he was struggling with some stuff. And we were just talking and chatting about how like when I went through struggles and stuff, there was always that desire. I was like, I wish there was somebody who was like, yeah, no, I went through that as well. And there really isn't, because a lot of the times you're not encouraged to share your flub ups. Like we have an episode where we've talked about our greatest disasters in business. But it kind of goes back to like, so we built our house, and like we didn't physically build it. We had somebody build it. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I actually came out every weekend.
Yeah. It would have fallen down by now. But like,
he's not wrong.
The reason I use that as an example, because like, something that went through my mind all the time is like, when you see a house getting built, like you're like, oh, okay, it's just getting built. It's following the process and it's done. And when you get a house built yourself, it is hell. I mean, it is just, you're constantly dealing with dumb stuff. You're like, what? I didn't pay for I need this. This is what we paid for. This is what we had a contract with. And like, they have to go fix it. You're constantly getting things. I think like the day of our closing, they were still painting our house because things weren't done.
They had to paint a piece that I had been telling them for weeks needed to be fixed. And they were also still laying sod.
Yeah. And like, you're just like frustrated because you're like, my house is not being built right. And then when you gather up with your neighbors, you hear like everybody had these struggles. And it's like, the reality is, when you're building your business, when you're building your house, you'll see those struggles. And until you sit and talk to somebody else, you don't realize that they also had those struggles getting built.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the reality of like people listening to this are like probably like, I have an idea for a podcast and I'm not sure how I want to do it.
Just do it.
Hearing the struggles of like, you guys started with a cell phone and did 15 clips, and now you've grown and you guys are have an active audience. You guys are having fun with it, which I think is a huge part that people skip on, is like they become begrudging to it and they're like, okay, I've got to do this. We're not having fun.
If you're not having fun, don't do it. Just don't.
Exactly.
Like, we look forward to it. I can't stress enough to y'all's listeners. We look forward to this every week. Like, we literally, it's like a date night now.
Yeah, we make a date night out of the night that we watch the movie. Yeah.
We make food. We like make ourselves drinks.
I love it.
The dogs are all out. The cats are all out. Like,
They cuddle with us on the couch.
Oh, you
we
guys
all
are so
watch it
cute.
together as a little family.
I just love it.
then
I love it so much.
And then when we record the episode, like, that's what comes to mind to me. Like, I'm not saying that to our listeners all the time, but like when we're talking about the episode, like what I'm thinking about is when we watched it. When we watched it, I was there with the person I love the most, with our whole family.
I wasn't there.
I'm dead.
That's the podcast.
That thing is so loud.
Sorry.
But it's. I think that people can't stress that enough. That if you're not having fun, don't do it. And then what I love that you were just saying, it like spawned this thing in my head, so I'm gonna say it. I feel like a lot of people are scared to start specifically podcasts because there's so many podcasts out there.
Yeah.
And that is so stupid to me, because it would be like, well, I'm not gonna go play golf because there's so many people playing golf on the golf course. Well, do you enjoy playing golf?
That was good.
Do you enjoy playing golf? Yeah, I do. Well, it's the same thing. I'm not gonna go fishing today because there's so many people out on the water. But you enjoy fishing, go fishing, right? So when it comes to making podcasts specifically, so many people will say to themselves, I'm not gonna do this. There's so many podcasts out there. My voice won't get heard. Well, first of all, your voice will get heard. That's the beautiful part about it. Is you should put your voice out there, and the people, your guests you decide to bring on, put your voices out there. It's not about how many people listen. It's about, do you enjoy doing it, and do you have something worth saying?
Yeah, that's really good.
And if you have something worth saying, I would argue people will listen. And, when I say worth saying, I don't mean it has to be like, it doesn't have to be like Jordan Peterson or anything like that. But like, if it's something that's funny and well thought out, and it's something that you enjoy and you're going to bring passion and life to and present it to people, they're going to listen to it. And it might not be millions of people, but you'd be surprised. People will listen
It is true.
If you're passionate about it and you make good content.
So what advice would you give someone who like wants to start a podcast and is like afraid to step out of that comfort zone? Like, what were your advice to like step out of the comfort zone and try to do this podcast?
Just do it. Just do the thing. Do it scared.
You heard it here, guys. Just do it.
I feel like Courtney's really like, ever since like, for as long as we've known her, I feel like, because when we served on like platform, whenever we would do worship and stuff, there was many a Sunday where Courtney would be asked to do something, like whether it was a solo on something, whether it was a song she had never sung before, and like she was going to lead, or she would like something. And she would always freak out in the room. And I'd be like, well, you can tell TJ, like, I'd rather not do it, And she literally she'd always look at me and go, no, I'm going to do it. And I'm like, I've never been able, there's some things that like people are able to do and stuff, but it's just, that's something that you have always done in everything. You freak out about it, but gosh darn it, do you ever do it? Like, you do it. Yeah. And so it's like, that was, and I think I've told you that before, whenever we were doing like, when it was like with the worship stuff. And I was just like, how do you do that? How do you do that? And like, I would just freak out and I would lose my mind. And you're just like, I have my freak out moment and now I'm going to buck up and I'm going to do it. And the whole time, every time she did it, it would be great. And everything she worried about was not a problem. So it was like, and that's something I've admired about you for sure with that, because it's like, there's times where I'm mortified. Aww. I know. Do you have a button on your little platform for that?
I'm afraid to hit the wrong one because it could ruin the mood.
Like
he's gonna hit the wah wah wah.
No, I know which one that is. I just don't know which one the other one is, and that's the one I don't want. I don't want to like mess up and hit the wrong. I don't want to hit the wrong one.
You just lowered it.
I hit my volume level.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're
so
right.
yes, that is something I've always admired about Courtney, is she does it.
Yeah, and something about her too. Like, she's my wife, but I'll brag on her for 20 seconds real quick. I feel like the two of us, I get a lot of the credit for being like the brave and courageous one. But what a lot of people don't understand is like bravery has nothing to do with like the things that you do. It has to do with what you overcome to do it. Mm-hmm. And like, I always like out front lead the charge, and like people don't understand like when, especially like leading worship with me, like she can attest, it's hard to lead worship with me. Like
you don't say.
I will go anywhere like, on that platform. I will go anywhere, like, and it's just what I feel called to do. And so like, but I say all that to say like a lot of people like dub me like TJ, you're the courageous one, you're the brave one, but I think she's a lot more courageous and brave than me because there's things that she does that I know she doesn't want to and is scared to do, but she still does them. Mm-hmm. And there's things that I'm scared to do and I don't do. Like, there's not a lot that I'm scared of.
Brother.
There's a lot of things that I'm not scared of. Like, I'm pretty fearless, but like when I am scared of something, I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. There's a lot of things that Courtney's scared of, and she does that anyways. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, you're super brave.
We're gonna make her turtle into her shirt.
Courtney's super uncomfortable right now.
I am.
Emotions.
Continue on that logistics part of the podcast. Like, how do you guys pick a movie? Is there like a fight? Do you guys have to duel it out? Is there like a rock, paper, scissors contest, or you throw a dart?
So I think at the very beginning we were just we did not plan it
Super
at
random,
all.
yeah.
Like it was just kind of like,
What do you want to watch this week?
yeah,
Kind of, yeah. Which kind of
basically. But we've started planning it out. Like for October, we planned out like all Halloween movies, and before that, we've planned like for what month are we in? September.
Yeah.
Currently, but we've like
Barely.
yeah,
Yeah.
we planned
we have
like
a formula now.
yeah, like a princess movie, a Pixar movie, like a live action movie,
Okay.
like a classic non-princess movie. Yeah, we try to like mix it up. That way we're not doing like all Pixar movies or all princess movies. That way it kind of gives it some diversity.
Right.
So there's something for everyone.
I like that.
Yeah. And the cool thing about it is, and we're going to run into this problem as we do it, like eventually, and she always rolls her eyes when I say this because she doesn't think it's going to happen, but eventually we're going to run out of movies. Like they're going to keep making them, but at the rate we're going, right, with a movie a week, which we're not going to stop. Like I like doing a movie a week. Like it's fun and it's easy. Who knows? Maybe at some point in life, if we get really busy, we'll do every other. But for right now, a movie a week works. At some point, we're going to run out. But the beautiful part is I think that like every episode's not going to be for everyone. But there's going to be people that like don't want to watch. I'm just going to use this example. This is a crazy example, but there's going to be people that don't want to watch Toy Story because they don't like Toy Story. But they're going to watch Cars because they love Cars, right? So it's like not every episode is for everyone. And that's the beautiful part about it. Like, so as we hit these movies, we're going to get to like, there's some movies we're going to get to and people are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to listen to that episode. But they're not going to listen to Beauty and the Beast because like, I don't care about Beauty and the Beast. And so that's kind of the struggle with, no, I shouldn't call it a struggle. That's kind of the weird part.
Courtney,
about this
did you
podcast.
cringe on that?
Yeah, who doesn't like Beauty and the Beast?
I know.
There are people out there.
That's kind of the beautiful part. And yet
You mean the movie where
struggle
she,
of the podcast.
talking about the movie where she gets Stockholm syndrome?
Yes. This is not a Disney podcast. We're not going to go into that. It's one of those things where it's like we have to like manage that challenge of like mixing the episodes up in a way where we don't get in a rut of just our favorites. Is the point I was trying to make. Because what will basically happen is we'll string along a whole thing of like princess movies and like we'll lose our whole audience because they're like, okay, but like.
But like we're tired of princesses.
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we did eventually. We're like, if we do all of our favorite movies, we're gonna like people are gonna get tired of us. So we're gonna mix in other. Yeah, we're gonna mix in other.
Yeah.
Things. So her formula is really good. And then when we get to a month like October, we will do more spooky movies, like Halloween spooky movies. For Christmas, we're gonna do like a couple
Christmas
of like
movies,
like the Mickey Christmases and the Donald with his nephews. Spoilers, but we're gonna do that, and then a couple other things like that. And then. Yeah, and then when we get to the new year, we'll do some other cool things.
You got Coco planned for October, Halloween?
We do not.
No, we don't.
Just throwing it out there.
We might save that one for next October.
You said Coco for Halloween? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I love Coco.
Dia de los Muertos.
Muertos. It's one of my favorite.
Tori says it better than I do, and I'm Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
And I'm super white.
Shameless plug. If you've never been to the Pyramid in Mexico and Epcot, go. It's like it's themed after Day of the Dead. And it's they got a tequila bar down there. It's awesome.
Are they the ones that have like the little raft thing that rides through it
Yes.
too? Okay, so we did eat there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
That's where I had the little birds that sang
Yeah.
the Amigos.
It's beautiful. I do want to say this before we move on. You know what's crazy to me is we talked about our first episode and how like hard and scary it was. To this day, our first episode has by far the most listens.
Way more listens, yeah.
It has like triple the listens of our next.
Authenticity.
Yeah, It's crazy. The one that we were like, we were even scared to release it. We released it and we got the edit wrong. We had to pull the episode back down.
I forgot
and like
about that.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Like that first episode was like
because it was in so many segments. Like I put them in the wrong order and then released it, and then I had to like unrelease it.
Like I feel like we needed to say like the first episode was a nightmare.
It was cringy,
and it has by far the most listens of any other episode. It has double the listens of any other episode.
Wow!
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Everybody gave it a chance. They're like, well, and then they realized
I feel like a lot of people probably start with it. They think podcasts start episode 1 and then they peter off, as it goes. But anyways, like that episode is crazy to me. Like that episode that we were so almost ashamed of, like now looking back, is like our most listened to episode, and people love it. Like they love that episode.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about going back and like re-recording it? Or
I have thought about it, but
just leave it.
yeah, she wants to.
Honestly, I agree with Court.
Now, in a year, I wouldn't mind reviewing that movie again.
Well, there's a live action one.
We're going to do the live action one, Beauty and the Beast. But I even wouldn't mind doing the animated one again in like a year and be like, hey, I just want to revisit this movie. We did our first episode on this movie. So we think for our year, we might do the live action one.
Courtney's giving the stank
No.
face.
No.
But actually, the live action one's going to be a very near and dear episode to us because we already have our guest plan for it. It's going to be super fun. I'm not going to name the guest yet, but it's
not us.
It's not y'all. No, y'all already know what y'all's next.
I don't even know who it is.
Yeah, you do.
It's that okay. Right now they're currently using eyes to communicate. They're lifting eyebrows. That's the way they're doing. Okay, it's some type of.
I'm not gonna say it, but
some type of Morse code.
But yeah, I think for a year we're gonna do that one. The live action Beauty and the Beast.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, so let me ask you guys. So we'll start transitioning here because we gotta wrap up eventually.
Of course.
But I want to ask you guys some rapid fire questions.
I love rapid fire questions.
Okay.
All right, so I want to hear these. These are real answers.
These things always stress me out.
But then do we-
They're not even like questions for me.
you're gonna direct them at the person?
Oh, each of you gets to answer these.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
my
I
hands
wanna
hear
are
you.
so sweaty right now.
Good thing it's a podcast. Nobody can notice. Okay. All right, here we go. You guys are big Disney fans, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Did you switch up this? Did you switch up the question? Did you switch up the question?
Did I wish up with questions?
Did you switch up the questions?
Yes, these are new questions.
Okay.
I'm not
cool.
asking the same
No, I'm
questions.
nervous.
Okay. You guys are big Disney fans. You guys are just in Disney for your anniversary, celebrating
Yeah.
happy anniversary.
Thanks.
You have just been elected the CEO of Disney. What is your first week on the job like? What are you doing?
I'm redoing annual passes.
I like this question and that answer.
Thank you.
It's great.
Courtney for president.
I'm telling you what. Sparks.
The sparks will fly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But redoing how annual passes are done, because I think they're kind of poopy right now. You still get a lot of perks, but not as much as you used to. More magic in the parks.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What do you mean by that?
Like you want legit magicians in the parks?
Heck
No.
yeah, I do.
No, that's what she means.
No, but
24
even,
hours a day, 7 days a week.
Michael Scott's there.
Could you imagine? But even I remember pre-COVID, me and my sister would go to
Yeah.
Disney, and even the people in the parking lot were just so excited to see you. Everyone from the moment you stepped on foot of Disney property, everyone is just so happy. Made a very magical, enjoyable environment to make memories in it. And even when we went last week, we would wave to the cast members and they would just stare at you, or they give you
And it's a recurring
boo.
thing.
I
It's a
thought their
recurring.
whole thing is literally
It used to be before COVID. It was.
what happened to standards?
I don't know. It's getting
think-
worse.
I think that they have. My theory is that they've had to hire new people with all the things that they have going on, and the type of people that will work there or are able to work there. I'll put it that way. Are out.
Boo.
Yeah, I think maybe
Dang
just
it.
because of COVID and the transitions that they've had to make,
Yes.
they don't have that work culture that maybe they used to have.
Yes.
Well, they used to have standards in hiring. They
Yeah.
were very
Yes.
specific.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
Josh Gad didn't get hired.
I think that they're more. I think that they're more specific now than they used to be, and I think that's causing some of the problem.
Huh.
Yeah. I think that it's one of those things too where let's be real, a lot of the people that work for Disney parks. Like it's not a forever job. So I took this into consideration too. Like,
like a transitional thing.
Yeah. So they've got new hires in now. Like COVID happened, people left and did other things, or they shut the parks down for a while, and like people had to go find other jobs, right? And so probably had to hire a bunch of new people. And what my thing is, I think that maybe the training wasn't as extensive or it didn't happen like it should have happened. And let's cut Disney some slack because they're amazing. Like maybe like through COVID, like they're trying their best to like get the parks open back up.
It was uncharted territory for everybody.
They probably had to run people through training quicker than they used to do it, and that kind of thing. So I want to cut them some slack there. I think that they probably did the best that they could, and they're probably going to work on it. But I do agree with you. The Magic's definitely.
I feel like the people that go through. Sorry, we're trailing off, but like I feel like the people that go
I want to answer this question.
They go through the Disney school or whatever it is.
Oh, the college program?
Yeah, I feel like they are the people that are more like what it used to be because they're excited to be there.
Yeah.
They're paying to be there and like they're going through the extensive.
Magic had that. When we went, there's a lot of interns at Magic Kingdom, and Magic Kingdom had that feel.
And they let because they want to be there.
Yes.
And like that's the thing. They're not just like hired off the street, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
What would you do, TJ?
All right, if I was CEO of Disney, number one, what I would do is I would incorporate. And there's two things I'm going to do. So number one, I would incorporate a wristband policy at Epcot. When you go into Epcot, you show your ID and you get a 21 or older wristband. So that because it's a drinking park, we have to show our ID at every booth. And I'm not going to lie, it's very annoying when you're 31 years old and there's 65 booths at Epcot and you have to show your ID. Like, they don't let you
take it as a compliment.
They don't let you show it. Like you have to take it out of your wallet in the
Okay, that
places.
is annoying.
Yeah,
Feels like if you just got the Disney wristband, it could just like scan it.
and know your age. That's more what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
have a thing so that you can scan your
But
wristband.
I feel like that would have to have like your photo in it or something because anyone can take someone's
Well,
wristband.
Here's the thing, though. They do it at every major like rock concert, anything like that. They could even give you a wristband that's
like,
like 21 or older.
Your wristband has your fingerprint.
Your Magic Band and your fingerprint, and it does pull up your picture when you.
There you go. They
okay.
already know
As far
your
as
age.
I can, at
I'm
least
just
when you
saying-
check into a
Why
park,
not?
it
Submit
shows
your
it.
ID.
Disney.
I'm just saying. I think it would be cool, and I would also do it at Animal Kingdom and at Hollywood
Hollywood.
Studios because there's a lot of alcohol consumption there too, in a good way. Like it's it's just a fun park. There's like a lot of bars and restaurants. And
Yeah.
stuff. Magic, you don't need to do it at. You could like just don't even need to do it at Magic Kingdom. It's totally different. If you're going to Magic Kingdom to drink, you have a problem.
I think,
You can't walk around.
can't
They
walk
only
around
have
alcohol.
alcohol at sit-down restaurants.
No.
well, I feel like Magic Kingdom is more like family kids.
1,000%.
Like specific.
Number two, and I'll make this quick. I would make more representation of some of the newer movies. Raya the Last Dragon is a fantastic movie. I wish it had a bigger representation, and also Encanto, Moana, and a lot of the other newer movies that have come out. They could definitely easily be represented at Epcot. Like you just throw up a booth, just literally throw up a booth. Like you could,
If you watch D23 Expo, they announced like a bunch of stuff coming to the park. Moana is going to have a big representation.
Love it.
That's
And
fine.
possibly Encanto as well.
I love that. But like I feel like movies like Raya the Last Dragon, like they put a lot of
Yeah, that's interesting that that movie got left behind, especially because like there's not a lot in the Asian section of Epcot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what we said. They should throw up a booth during the festivals, and the soup that she makes in the movie, they could be a soup that they serve along with like some sake or something like that. Anyways, I'm not saying like that it has to be overthought, but like just a little bit more thoughtfulness in these movies that they put millions of dollars in.
Yeah.
A lot of we're just two people that like the movie like that. We like that movie a lot, and like it would be cool if you just had a small representation. Just in
Yeah.
Epcot. Not even talking about like it's a big cultural movie, right? Like Encanto's a big cultural movie. Throw a booth up and have just the food and represent the movie that you spent a lot of time and money to make.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow, I feel like Disney is already a better place from hearing this podcast.
Thank you.
Okay, favorite movie. Not doesn't have to be Disney. Favorite movie.
Okay. Do I get like a top?
She needs a top 3.
I'll give you a top 3.
Thank
A
you.
top 3. Okay.
Yeah, I think top 3 is fair.
Thank you. I need it more than she does.
Okay.
Okay.
Tangled.
Okay, Tangled.
Oh, I love her. I feel like I identify with her.
Same. I just love that she runs around without shoes on.
Punsy.
It's mainly like the back and forth thing.
I'm sorry,
where
the
she's like, I'm a
shoes?
terrible daughter. I am so excited. Why have I done this?
That's
Literally,
everyone's
though.
life. That's a real thing.
That's
It's just so
100% Tori.
relatable.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2. Thor Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I just think it's hilarious.
I like
love
that
it.
movie.
It's
I
fun.
like
It's
it.
a
love
good
it.
movie.
I'm just proud of her for
I'm,
trying.
look, hey, I'm a hater. It's fine.
Yeah, Tori doesn't like the movie.
I'm a hater.
Love and Thunder was bad, but that was good.
Love and Thunder
Ragnarok
was
was good.
trash.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 3. Harry Potter Prisoner of Azkaban.
It's a good movie.
Never seen it. Never seen it. Never seen. I've only seen whatever the one Harry Potter is I watched with you.
You saw the
Last one.
was it the last?
I think we went and saw the last one in
Yeah,
theaters
it was the
together.
last one. We saw the last one in
And I was like,
theaters.
I don't know what's happening here, but it
Definitely
looks like that
He
guy's
hadn't
winning.
he had not seen any of the other movies. We just went and saw the last
I
one.
was like, that guy without the nose, he looks like he's losing to the dude with the glasses. That looks like some stuff's happening there.
Oh my god.
You're not wrong.
You're making a lot of people angry right now.
I enjoyed what I saw. I just didn't know any of the
You
characters.
didn't understand it.
Like I got done and I was like, wait, why? How come he didn't get with the little chick wizard thing?
Because
chick
she was with
wizard
Ron
thing.
Weasley.
Yeah, but I'm like, that's the main female and the main male, and like they're
They
supposed
were
to.
Like why
outside the
Hermione and Harry were.
Yeah.
No, Harry had to marry Ginny Weasley.
Yeah, but then the corrector was the person that wrote it was like, no, I want to change it all.
Yes.
Okay, we'll not talk about her.
Okay.
Okay,
To answer the question now.
top three.
Top 3 movies, they are set in stone. They will be until something changes my mind.
Ooh, wait, I feel like I know the first one.
What?
Is it Toy Story?
No.
It's a Bug's Life.
My top 3 movies are not Disney movies. They've been my top 3 for the last decade of my life. My top 3 movies are as follows: Lord of the Rings trilogy,
What?
the Dark Knight
Did
trilogy,
you put the whole? You just put in trilogies.
That is
and
three
and
movies.
the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Those are trilogies. They're three movies.
I
in
will
each
let him
one.
have it because that's really creative.
Now, if you want me to pick one, I'll do the Two Towers from Lord of the Rings as my number 1. My number 2 would be the Dark Knight. Then my number 3 would be Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade.
Okay.
That's actually a really cultured list of good films.
Those are like all time favorite. You asked me like what movies do like they hit the nostalgia filter for me. They hit the well done filter for me. They have the action. They have the comedy. They have the like Lord of the Rings will like move you. Dark Knight will like move you. Indiana Jones like it's just it's just
Wow,
those
they
films.
hit all
Okay.
the pillars.
They do.
I want to know your favorite ride and your least favorite ride. Go at Disney.
At Disney, okay. Favorite ride.
Any park. And it doesn't even have to be in the Disney that we're near. It can be the ones in California, Europe, whatever.
Okay. Favorite ride would have to be. Oh gosh, this is so hard. Do you know yours?
I do. I'll go
Okay,
first.
go first.
My favorite ride in all the Disney parks that we've been to.
It's the teacups, isn't it?
We've never
No,
been
it's
to
not.
Teacups.
It's Dumbo.
It's not. My favorite.
I love
my,
you, like Dumbo.
my favorite ride is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Really?
Okay, that's good. I like
dude,
with the little
I
keys and the dog.
love that ride. And then my least favorite. This is hard. Probably. Man, least favorite is hard. I would have to say.
He's
it's so
rude.
much fun, but probably the People Mover. But I like the People Mover.
No, that's not. It's not
considered
even a
a
ride.
ride?
That's just like a people mover.
Yeah,
I feel like it's just like a transportation
Just-
system.
It's the Jungle
Yeah.
Cruise, isn't it? Carousel of Progress.
actually,
TJ
I
loves
love
Carousel.
Progress.
It's a
You know-
great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
Y'all do not add
We
me. That's
have
my
that
favorite.
sign
Honestly,
hanging
Jungle
in our
Cruise.
house.
We do. Great big. That's a beautiful quote. There's a great big beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. Like that is like my life mantra. So
It's
hold on.
great.
You're right, Jungle Cruise. I actually don't like Jungle Cruise.
You don't like
Really?
Jungle Cruise?
No, I don't like
You don't
Jungle
like them dad jokes?
No,
I think it's hilarious.
She does. Of
course Courtney does.
Favorite is Pirates of the Caribbean. Least favorite is probably Jungle Cruise. And Jungle Cruise is a good ride. I will ride it when we get an
Y'all
opportunity
should
to.
do the Jungle Cruise movie for your
I
live
want
action.
to. I want to.
That's it.
Hey yo.
All right,
was
you're
it.
up. I've bought you as much time as I possibly could.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Least favorite. I'm gonna start with least favorite. Tower of Terror. Hot take. Don't like it.
I mean, I don't like drop rides either, so
It just
I've never
freaks me
ridden
out.
it.
Favorite ride. I'm gonna have like a slash.
She's really gonna have a trilogy of rides.
I swear to God, if you pull a trilogy of rides, I'd be so mad.
Okay, so I really like the safari at Animal Kingdom. I also really like the Runaway Railroad at Hollywood Studios, and I also really like.
Oh my god,
Pirates
it really is a trilogy. It really, she
at
did.
Magic
I
Kingdom.
forgot about the Runaway Railroad. It's so good.
It's so good.
Okay, so wait, you said the jungle.
I forgot about the Ratatouille ride too.
You said this.
Oh, I do like
Did
the
you say
Ratatouille
the
ride.
you said the safari, the Runaway Railroad,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
And
what was the other one?
Pirates.
Pirates. Okay.
Pirates and the Runaway Railroad are my two favorite.
Not a single Star
Not
Wars
even
ride in there.
Rise. You don't like Rise?
We haven't written it.
Oh, Rise of the
So I would like to just take 2 seconds to say this. I would like to say 2 seconds to say this. Cosmic Rewind is the best.
Oh, wait, is that
forgot
the-
about that.
Stop.
That's my favorite ride. I
know.
lied. That's my
Yeah,
favorite
that's
ride.
my favorite ride. Cosmic Rewind is the best ride.
Is that the Guardians ride?
Yes.
Yes.
Listen to what I'm about to say. It's the best ride at any park, at any place, Universal included, that I've ever ridden. But it's not my favorite because I'll never ride it again.
What?
It ruined my whole day.
Oh, did you get sick?
He's very
if
motion
you are
sick.
motion sick, I'm talking
Yes,
8 hours. I'm talking
super.
6 to 8 hours motion sickness. Now, when it comes to creativity, the experience, it was
15 out of 10.
it was
Really? That's super
incredible.
great.
Wow.
I've heard that.
I can't wait to hear about how you write it because I won't write it.
But so
You have to do it one time.
you can take Dramamine.
That's what I
Yes.
did, and it's still
Get the little
it
wristbands.
still was hard. But
You're not helping, TJ. You're not helping.
No, Scott, I'm telling you,
You just have to accept being miserable.
Listen, I literally don't ride roller coasters because I get motion sick, but I bit the bullet on this one.
Is it a roller coaster? I thought
Yeah,
it was
it's a roller
It's a coaster.
It's a coaster.
And here's the thing.
Scott will ride it.
I am so happy that I did because it's an experience of a lifetime.
Scott will ride it.
I'll never ride Avatar, the ride at Disney ever again. The when you're riding on the Banshee.
Oh yeah.
But that is one of my second favorite. I think it's my second favorite ride because
I feel like you have a lot of favorite rides. And Courtney hasn't even given us her least favorite yet.
Oh, I did. Tower of Terror.
Yeah, she
Oh,
did.
okay, she did.
It was
okay.
the first one she
Got
did.
it. So she gave the negative first.
Yeah.
I think I like everything.
The answer
It's
is
annoying.
yes.
And that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Just kidding. Okay, last question.
Okay.
What is your favorite memory at Disney? I'm asking you guys two hard questions. It's supposed to be rapid fire.
I know,
thought you'd
this
like.
is a really hard.
See, rapid fire is so hard because the first thing that comes to my mind is boogers, and that's not anything to do with the question.
My
This is why I don't do rapid fire.
favorite moment at Disney. Do you have yours?
You go.
All right. It's not the best moment.
Okay.
And it's not the moment that I would necessarily want to replay over and over again.
Way to build it up, Teach.
But I think that my favorite moment at Disney was the first time that she talked me going to the parks again. I hadn't been since I was like 16 years old. We've been married for about a year, and it was her birthday. And she said, "I really want to go to Disney for my birthday." And I was like, "I don't really want to go to Magic Kingdom." And she's like, "No, I want to go to Epcot." She's like, "I think you'll love Epcot." I have no recollection. I've never been to Epcot before. I went to Epcot for the first time, and when we got there, she had a lunch reservation for a Chinese restaurant. We sat down and we ate at the Chinese restaurant in Epcot, and we walked around Epcot all day long. And I have been in love with not Disney in general, but I've been in love with Epcot ever since. Like that place is like Epcot. Like when we get to Epcot, I tear up when I walk.
That's your bread and
That's
butter,
my
man.
place. So that's my favorite Disney memory because I'll never forget that day. We drove down, and we just walked around the world like 8 times. I couldn't get enough of it. Could I? It was wild, dude. Like I couldn't get over it.
Courtney, what's your favorite memory?
Okay, my favorite memory. This was probably about a year ago when we went to Disney last year for our anniversary. It was one of the last times that they did the fireworks show Happily Ever After.
Yeah.
And TJ watched it in person for the first time.
Were you moved to tears?
It was just really special. We were there with Shannon and Andre. They came and watched fireworks with us, and we just all watched it together and just, I don't know.
And you saw the twinkle of the fireworks in TJ's eyes, like a sweet, sweet little child.
It was just a very...
Yeah. If you have never seen Happily Ever After, they're going to bring it back.
Oh, okay. Well, now it's like you never can now.
There's a
you can watch it on YouTube.
There's a moment where it does like a hero thing, and then it brings the Hercules theme song. But it goes, I'm trying to remember the part. No. It's not that I can go the distance part. It's the same song, but it's something else. But anyways, there's like this moment that hits, and you're just like, frick, I need to go do more with my life.
I'm inspired.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, thanks for coming on this podcast. Thanks for sharing the start of your podcast. Go ahead and tell people where they can find you guys and where they can listen to the podcast.
Okay. So you can find me on Instagram at CourtSparks53 or at Wish Upon a Sparks. You can listen to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Anchor. TJ, where can the people find you?
Find me at TJ Sparks 31, and and then sometimes on Wish Upon a Sparks, but it's mostly Courtney on Instagram on that.
Yeah.
I know this is kind of weird, but like we have an email too if you want to tell them. If you want to like email us, we love ideas. So if you have like movie ideas like that you want us to do, we do take suggestions into account. But most people just message us on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you emails demanding you do Fantasia 2000 over and over again until you do it.
Oh, I wouldn't be mad about that.
I'm just
We
gonna
both
send-
love Fantasia.
Really? Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Maybe we're just going to do it.
Do y'all want to come on that episode?
I would not be opposed, I guess. I don't really have a feeling on
I haven't
Fantasia.
watched Fantasia 2000 in a very long time.
Y'all wouldn't want to come on for Cars 2, would you?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I've seen all the cars. We will talk
We
about
have seen every single
I think that's
cars.
already written in stone.
Cars
That's
on
gonna
the
happen.
road. Bring it on, brother.
I'm going to let Tori go on a rant about cars. Guys, thanks for joining us for this episode of the 626 podcast. You can be sure to check us out on our Instagram as well as on the rest of the episodes here on, well, wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Wherever.
Guys, thanks for coming on. It's been awesome having you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
so
having
much for
us.
having us. We love you.
Bye,
We
everybody.
love you.
Peace.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the podcast. If you enjoy the 626 podcast, the best thing you can do for us is to share it with a friend and leave a 5-star review. It helps us a lot to get discovered.
And be sure to check us out on Instagram at 626podcast.